You see it yet? Hey, everybody. I'm just giving this a second for everyone to get in here and for it to really show us that I'm live. There we go. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Happy Friday. Hope everybody's having a good week and a good weekend ahead. This is our last big broadcast this week to launch our last mini course. And then tomorrow I will do another live session at 4 p.m. Eastern time to kind of recap on the programs that we've already seen this week. And tomorrow I'm going to actually go in depth a little bit more on our business school program. Now, I've mentioned that all this week, and I'll mention it again today, but I feel like it deserves a little bit more attention. No one else that I know of at all is offering anything like our business school program, and it's free for the first 30 days and then $7 a month until you cancel. So you don't have to be enrolled in any of our big programs to participate, but it is a very good value. We have an amazing group of people in there already. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. Today, I am going to talk about our new program on acquiring vintage sewing machines. For those of you that not joined me before, my name is Andi Barney, and I've been a professional technician for over 15 years now. And we launched this academy back in 2021, I believe. And it's kind of our purpose and our heart and soul. And we pretty much only eat, breathe, and drink sewing machines around here. So to my right is Paul, who will be monitoring the chat on both YouTube and Facebook. So that if any questions come up about our programs, please feel free to drop them in there and we will answer those as we go along. So today I'm going to get this right. I am going to hold on. I figured this out. Look at this. What we got here. All right. I did it right today.
Yay!
Yeah, third time the charm. So this is acquiring vintage and antique sewing machines. This was based off of a live broadcast that we did probably back in 2021 or 2022, a much smaller version of this when we were in the beginning stages of launching the Vintage Sewing Machine Mastery Program. So this is unlike any of the other mini courses we have in that instead of it being the beginner steps, it is kind of maybe the step that you take that leads you to the Vintage Sewing Machine Mastery. So in here, I try to give a lot of value on making wise decisions and purchases so that you don't end up with a whole pile of sewing machines that you can't get rid of. And that does happen. So yes, let's start here. This is going to cover quite a few things, starting with scouting machines. I'm going to go through all of the best and worst places to find them. This is kind of a section. I would say there's a lot of things in this program that are going to require updating off and on over time as times change. I did a lot of updating on this, even just from 2021, because, you know, our platforms changed the way that we acquire machines. Back when I was doing my collecting, Goodwill was just starting to hit the radar. So I was getting vintage machines for $3 and $4 a piece, which is impossible to do now. Facebook Marketplace, I don't think it did exist, but very, 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 I don't think there were sewing machines on there.
We had Craigslist.
We did. We had Craigslist, and I don't know that you could pay me to. I will say I have heard from people that you still can find machines on Craigslist, but Craigslist has kind of been one of those inundated places where you get a lot of scams. So things have changed, and I do keep adapting this program to match that. We're going to go through the best machines to avoid, reliable machines. So this means things that are good purchases to use, good purchases if you're buying them to restore them and resell or to donate or whatever. Singer reproduction machines. I know that seems like an odd one, but there is a wave of, they look like the Sphinx machines that are out there, the Singer 66s, but they were made in the 70s and 80s, and they're actually not as good as our original cast iron. So we go through some of that. We talk about machine types and accessories. So there's an entire section on, you know, if you're trying to decide what features you need for a machine for yourself, or if you're helping someone pick out a machine. We'll talk about, I have a few things left over from yesterday in here. Sorry, y'all. It's been a long week and I've been tired. So we'll go through these sections. So scouting machines, again, we're going to go through all the different sources. We're talking about Facebook, eBay. I think Craigslist is still in there. Goodwill, Marketplace, how to free cycle, pitching friends on Facebook, asking for resources at church. We go through a short list of search terms, which I know sounds silly, but you would be surprised at how many machines I've acquired using the term SOWING and other things. Ways to find free machines and search demonstrations. So I actually do have video demos in there on how to do effective searches that are maybe not as common as just putting in some keywords. Of course, with all of our programs, our mini courses, we do have a very healthy ebook download, and all of these, and some of it's a repeat, but most of it's an expansion of what's in the modules too. So these are good to print out and have with you. You can see here is a page on some of the machines to avoid, where to find them, and we still also have in here finding machines, brands that have parts that are hard to find is what I'm trying to say. So we have some known brands that are just impossible even for a check spring. This is a screenshot out of the video portion of Scouting Machines. And in here, I was actually demonstrating going through an eBay search, how to not just look at what's listed, but to look at what's been sold, how to evaluate if you're trying to make an offer on a machine. This is a really good resource if you use it the right way. You can't go based on what people are listing it for, because as we know, there's a lot of inflated pricing on here. But I do a lot of demo on how to do this effectively. Then we go through reliable and machines to avoid. So we're going to talk about the brands and models that are absolute pitfalls. This is just a non-emotional section of this program. It's really important to note, because just because I tell you that most touch and sews are not worth the investment doesn't mean that I'm shaming you for loving them or having them. It just means when you're going out and you're spending money on taking in machines, it may not be the wisest purchase. So it's a very non-emotional section of this program. We talk about high value machines, the ones that are going to be, good for you if you're looking to take them in, if you get donations and you can spot one and it's a good turnaround machine. We'll talk about reliable purchases and known issues with brands and models. And again, that's a very non-emotional part of this, because there are some brands that, even as pretty nice as they are, if there's a belt that's missing or a check spring or a spool pin, it may not ever work again if you can't find them. So here's one of many pages that I did put in the handout, and I kind of categorize machines that are good. And I think it's a good learning point for people just coming into the space, because I can tell you Singer 66, but without a visual reference, for many people, that's still not easy to identify yet. These are screenshots from inside the video portion of this program. I go through and show you lots of examples of machines to avoid. And this is a picture, actually not of what to avoid, but to be warned of. This is in the Viking 6000 series, which is known for having factory lubricant that gums up. Most people have not ever seen pictures like this. This is from a live disassembly that was done in our shop by one of our other technicians who was really, really good at this. But we give you lots of examples on how and why these can be problems. And then we go into machine types and accessories. So again, this program isn't just for making sound investments. If you're trying to turn around machines, a lot of people use these programs so that if you're looking for a machine for yourself, we do know that vintage and antique machines started to surge during COVID when we had a machine shortage. So I think a lot of people realize, oh, it'd be nice to have a Kenmore hanging around so that if my modern machine's not working and goes to a shop for 6 weeks, I have a reliable machine to work on. But that means you also have to know what type of machine you need. So if you're sewing garments, that might be different than a machine you need for just sewing quilts, which would lead you to a free arm. So a free arm will allow you to do sleeves and pant legs and things that I'll never do ever. So a free arm for me is not so important, but having something with an accessory tray to have a bigger base so that I can sew quilts would be more meaningful to me. We talk about zigzag or specialty stitches, because if you've worked in vintage machines, we do have some machines that have built-in zigzag, and then others that require cams or attachments to make those things happen. And how to handle heavy machines. I will say that this is one thing that comes up in the vintage program a lot, is we have older folks that don't feel like they have the strength or worried about that. So we do have a section in there on how to safely transport and maybe move machines around, even getting them out of a cabinet and onto a table. And then another thing to consider is if you have limited space. So one of the things we commonly see with vintage machines that we don't with modern is that sometimes they have an entire cabinet with them. Everything from a small profile pressed wood cabinet to a big, gigantic, elaborate, like the FOF 130 has this big, giant, beautiful cabinet that you almost can't tell has a chair in it. And it's amazing, but it's going to take up a good piece of real estate in your home. So again, in our download, on our ebook download, there's all kinds of questions and things to evaluate to help you decide what type of machine would be best for your purchase. And then we also have some video things. Now, I don't actually demonstrate how to do these specialty functions. That is definitely not my skill set, but it talks about buttonholers, embroidery attachments, zigzag attachments, all kinds of things that you can buy for these machines. And I will say many of my customers in the past have enjoyed some of the basic mechanical attachments versus what's built into a machine. So we kind of cover a lot of options in that. And then we go through evaluating machines for purchase. And in here, we're always going to tell you to start building a plan. If you know that you have a machine you're interested in and you're going to meet up with somebody, whether it's in their home or in a public place or whatever the case may be, you want to have a plan so that you're not just kind of caught off guard and feel like you got to make decisions on the spot. We'll give you lots of questions to ask the seller looking at a machine for purchase. So there's in the download there's a checklist of things you can go through to evaluate the machine, make sure that it turns. You know, if you have a chance to Tesso, we'll go through that. If you can check for any broken or missing parts or thread guides. Things to take with you. There's a little notation in there about a little package that you can make like in a little travel bag that's got a screwdriver and a flashlight. Paul actually bought me a flashlight many, many years ago that kind of slides in your pocket so that if you're out and about and there's a machine in the dark corner of a thrift store, you have your little flashlight you can just take out and kind of look for any missing parts. What to look for, again, missing parts. When you can Tesso, there's actually some instructions in there on what you should do because not all machines are going to be in working order. So even if it's savable and worth purchasing, you may not be able to just plug it in and let it go and see how it Tessos. We have lots of important things to remember in there about vintage machines along those lines. Like I said, just because it's in rough condition and might have some it might be seized up a little bit or not turned doesn't mean you should dismiss it. Parts that are usually easy to find. So we have lists of motor belts, bobbin cases, and things of that nature that are typically easy to find. And then, of course, we have a list of parts that are difficult to find. One of those things are, I mentioned yesterday or the day before, is if you're really interested in some of those really cool looking machines that look like vintage cars and nice colors, they have really pretty knobs and dials on them. But as we have found, that might be one of the most impossible parts to replace on any machine, regardless of brand. So even if you really love it, you think you might find a knob, probably not. We talk about how to make an offer, but not to be insulting to the seller. And while it's very subjective, depending on so many factors, there is a lot of conversation about how much you should pay for a machine when you purchase. And then at the very end in the video series part, we do go through a full demonstration of how I personally go about evaluating a machine, what I look for, and I actually do that on a couple different machines. Of course, in the download, you can see there's lots of checklists here. So you have parts that are usually easy to find, steps to go through when checking out a machine, what to look for. And this is a screenshot of the video that's in there on how to evaluate a machine. So you have lifetime access to the video series. I'm planning on adding a few more of these. We are going through some upgrades in the Vintage Sewing Machine Mastery. And as I do that and we start to acquire our machines back from Georgia, we're going to put more assessment videos in here. We have an ebook to download and print, and we do offer you a consultation, especially if you're interested in a particular machine that you see either listing or in a thrift store or an antique store and you want to take a picture and send it to us, we'd be glad to give you consultation. And like all of our other mini courses this week, because we are launching these brand new, they are reduced to $19 and you do have lifetime access. So when you start acquiring machines using this, your next step would be to move into the Vintage Sewing Machine Mastery. You can apply this $19 purchase towards that enrollment, which will save you. So as a comparison, I'm not going to go through the whole list verbally like I have. It is a side-by-side comparison because they are two different programs. So you have all of these things that are in the this mini course. And then in the Vintage Sewing Machine Mastery, we go through everything from beginning to end, including motor service, electrical rewiring. Paul is our main instructor in the Vintage Sewing Machine Mastery. So if you do acquire a machine that has a broken or missing thread guide or something that requires a creative repair or solution, he's our man for that. We do almost every single repair you can think of in there outside of gear replacement, timing adjustments, or full disassembly, reassembly. All right, so Paul is going to drop the link into the chat there, just in case anybody wants to go ahead and click on it. This will also be in the feed when you're ready to click on it there. As a reminder, we still have our 3 mini courses available for all 3 for $40. That saves you. What's that?
It did copy.
Oh, it did. Okay, Paul's got it. But with all of them are each $19 each, but that saves you $20 to go ahead and enroll in those. If you do enroll in all 3, you can actually apply your $40 purchase towards the purchase of the full maintenance program, and that is all of our current programs. Again, business school we're going to have a longer discussion about that tomorrow. If you do join business school, it's free for 30 days, so you have no risk, and then it's $7 a month. You do not have to be enrolled in any of our big programs or any other programs, but it will give. Tonight we have an industry night call, which we usually do 8 p.m. Eastern time on Fridays. So if you happen to jump in there today, I will watch for that and allow you into the group. And one last mention. Oh, I didn't put it in here, but we do have our giveaways. That's really weird. Yes, I didn't save it. We do have our giveaways. We are giving away. Let me stop sharing here. We are giving away, if you join one of the individual programs or all of them, you'll be entered into that drawing, and then you can choose if you win. You will get your choice of the Featherweight program, the Remove Your Covers program, or the Vintage Sewing Machine Mastery. If you enroll through the 3-course bundle, you'll be entered to win our full maintenance program, which is a almost $600 value. So do I have any questions?
Just about gifting the program. What is it that needs to be done if somebody wants to gift these programs to someone else?
Well, we had the email in there yesterday.
Yeah.
You can go through the contact page on the website. That's probably the easiest way to do it. I'd rather not have that email out there. So just email me through the contact site. That's the only way I can do it. If you try to do it your way, it's under your name, and it gets very, very confusing. So we can definitely set you up to gift it. That's not a problem at all. Do you have anything else?
Nope.
All right. Happy Friday, everybody, and have a good weekend. Again, I'll be back here 4 p.m. tomorrow. The daily deals are already up there. Like I said, if you're considering the business program, we are going to be live at 8 p.m. tonight over Zoom. So join us if you can. And we've got all kinds of details going in there too. So have a good weekend, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, everybody.